Welcome to the Adam Rothstein Hockey Podcast. This is your podcast for all things hockey. On this podcast, we talk about past history to the modern day and what you can do to grow the sport. I am your host, Adam Rothstein. All right, let's get to the show. And welcome back to the Adam Rothstein Hockey Podcast. With me is my old teammate, Patrick Rohan. Pat, how you doing?
Doing good, man. What about you?
I'm all right. I'm good. I'm feeling all right. Like that Baby
Wonderful
song. Okay. So let's kick things off. So today we are going to be talking about a little bit about you, just your development, your favorite hockey team, and your thoughts on certain hockey topics. Okay?
Sure.
All right. So where and when did you begin your hockey journey?
So where and when? It was in Rockville, Maryland, to be exact, with our team, the Montgomery Cheetahs. I was going to school at the time with one of our teammates who told me about the team he played for, which is of course our team. And I started playing hockey with him, street hockey, just on our time off school all together. And he really encouraged and inspired me to join the team. And from there, the rest of it was history.
All right. I like that. And how old were you when you started?
11.
11. So you never played high school hockey. You never went past the level of the Cheetahs, or did you ever play house or anything?
No.
You did not. Just checking. So I guess my question is now, why didn't you play in high school or college? Why didn't you play high school hockey or college hockey?
Well, because I didn't have plans to play in college because I really loved where I was with the Cheetahs, and I didn't want to change that. I didn't want to, yeah, bottom line in a nutshell, I just didn't want to change how happy I was with the Cheetahs and just the camaraderie we had together as a team, and also just as friends. And also we really had a wonderful time playing, especially and at all the tournaments across the East Coast for sure.
I mean, absolutely, I get it. That we had some wonderful moments, but when Kevin, Ben, and I, and even Daniel too, we wanted to play high school hockey to improve our development, and I played college hockey because I wanted the next level. I wanted to be the best as I could, and I mean, we weren't going to be playing in the NHL, but if you look back on it now, do you regret not pursuing it at some point?
I don't,
You
because
don't.
backtracking a bit, I never really had any plans to, well, actually, no, not never. I mean, um, for a very short time, it was short-lived. I thought for a moment that I would like to play in the NHL, but then I was like, you know what? No, this isn't the thing for me. I want other things to pursue. And again, like I said, backtracking. Um, I did play um, a bit when I was in high school, just for half of my freshman year, because I had a falling out with my coach. I mean, he was just not all who he said he was. It really ended up being very toxic, and it was to the point where, um, yeah, it was to the point where my mental health really deteriorated deteriorated quickly. Excuse me. So I just had to get away from the toxic situation. And again, like I said earlier, I realized that I was really already at home with the Cheetahs, and there was no way in hell's heck, if I may, for me to change anything, for me to swap out different places for sure. Especially since again, didn't really have any plans to play in college or in the NHL. So I figure, you know what, I already have a home base and I've established in a concrete manner with the Cheetahs. So bottom line, I have no regrets, absolutely none.
Was your high school coach for the brief time you tried out, was he abusive at all? Like, was he verbally, did he yell at you when you made a mishap or something?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. My coach yelled at me when I missed something once, but once I got the groove down, it was all right. And I think it was like, and it was just like, yeah, he was off his rocker and he was like dealing with midterms one day or something. But it was like, it was not abusive. It was just encouragement for me. But I guess but you bring up a very important point, that coaches can take this too far and it's still a game, and this is still amateur hockey. Yes, you're competitive in high school, in the junior league and midgets. That's when you truly do become competitive. But after that, um, but after, but even during that time, you need to lay off a little. You need to give your players some leeway because they are going to make mistakes. And it's not worth getting in a tizzy every time someone just misses the net. It's not
Hmm.
worth it. So that's very understandable right there. Um,
I know
so
what you
I
mean.
guess, yeah, I guess coming back to playing again. So you have no interest in playing again, or do you have any interest in playing again?
Yeah, I would love to maybe do some. I've been wondering on and off whether or not it'd be fun to do some pickup hockey with my buddies, like or stick and shoot. That would be super fun for sure. Don't get me wrong. I would love to do that again. Just going back to what you said earlier though about leeways and coaches giving a hard time though. So I learned that I wasn't the only one he was having a problem with because 2 years later he got fired because everyone hated him. He was really just like verbally and psychologically abusive to all the teammates. It was also I mean, he was also it was also the reason why the team was failing, like losing every game because of his poor leadership and his, you know, a bit poor inability to create a sense of community and camaraderie, team pride or whatever. And even worse than that, he got in trouble because he let the players fool around with drugs, and that affected their academic performance, and they got suspended from a few games, even put on academic probation. So it was one big mess. Everyone hated him for all those reasons. He needed to go.
Wait. So he was not someone separate that you hired. He was actually part of your private school.
Correct. He was our high school's ice hockey coach.
Eh, did he teach a subject at this school, like chemistry or
No,
something?
no. He was an adjunct employee. He was only a coach. He had another job at another company, but not ours.
Okay. What high school did you go to again? Just jog my memory.
Sure, no worries. So I went to a Catholic high school in Arlington, Virginia called Bishop O'Connell High School.
That was yeah, that I mean like that's intense too. I mean like if my high school coach did that, I guess Principal B, we'll just call her Principal B. I'm not gonna give her last name out, but um if that ever did happen under her watch, she would be investigated too. But I think like yeah, and this game can get very intense, and you really do need to background check people, and that actually leads me to refereeing, and and getting and becoming a referee does require a background check. And I have to ask you this question: do you want to become a referee, or have you ever considered becoming a referee?
Wow, that's a very good question. I mean, to be honest, it never crossed my mind whether or not I would like to become a referee. If anything, I would love to do some more playing before I become a referee. In a nutshell, that's just my best way to answer your question. Because let me tell you, that's a really good question because I certainly haven't asked myself that before. It never even would have occurred to me. So, um, thank you for giving me some creative juices, if you may, to power my brain and my thinking.
Okay, and a little segue to all my email subscribers. If you have not already, definitely go read my latest article on refereeing. By the time this goes up, it will have already been there. So just go back to Substack and check the inbox from there. Check out my articles on the main site, and you'll see it. It is free for all users, for free for all subscribers, whether you're a paying member or not. It'll be there. I had to get that out there. So you would consider joining a beer league, and now I'm in more of a pickup beer league. We don't have official uniforms at all. But there's but it but my beer league that I have to do is going to be $500. Like, think about it. It's $500 for like 13 or 15 games. So yeah, I guess that would be a lot, wouldn't it?
Would definitely.
It's $500 too. Now, now that's not to say I wouldn't like. I mean, I was still good even with the year, like the 18 months of not skating, essentially, that I
Hmm.
went through. 18 months of not skating, and still got back out on the ice and did well enough. So I'm happy when I went back out on the ice back in 2021. So there was that. I do think the expenses of this game has certainly even held adults back, because they would have wanted to play it, and sometimes they'll just do ball hockey or roller hockey, and they will not take to the ice. And I do think it is a bit of a shame too. So would you join a league? So what would be your price point as a single guy living in the great state of Virginia to join a beer league? What's your price point?
That's a very good question. To be honest, I haven't considered. I haven't. It hasn't really crossed my mind to join a beer league anytime soon. So, um, I am relatively starting. I relatively am still starting out in life, just trying to establish a solid income and living situations. So I don't really know if I can really put it. Excuse me. I don't even really know if I can put a price um, on where to play and how to play, especially based off what you said with the $500 mark. So, gosh, I sure hate to leave this question open ended, but in all honesty, I really have no clue at all um, what price I would put on it right now.
I mean, I get it though, but it's not $500. And now I will probably pay the $25 for the next game, and I've spent already $200 on about 10 games too. And he wants to charge another 500, right? The I don't know, the commissioner of the AJHL, that's what I play under essentially. And he wants to charge 500 for about 13 games. Let's do the math here. I'm gonna get my iPhone out real quickly if you don't mind.
No
And
worries. No worries.
500 divided by 13 game, $38. $38.46 a game, or maybe it was 15 too. But even let's just give them that $33.33 for 15 games, and $500 for 33 bucks for 90 minutes. I mean, do I make more than that? Or could I, like, that's not more than what I'm making per hour if we're going to go by 90 minutes or even 2 hours. But 33 bucks a night. That's $500 for, well, I would have a jersey covered. And it wouldn't be new. It would not be the more high quality jerseys. It would only be $20 for me, right? And then you get 15 games as well, but it's $500. You don't get really any added benefit of what I'm really doing now, which is just, and I've spent about maybe $250 on about 10 games now. So I guess with cost benefit analysis, it makes no sense for me to join at all. So as well. Now I guess if anyone now would you go, let's say you get a great deal with either Coach Sean or Coach Dave, back from our old coaches, and they decide to put you on their team. Well, I think you're in Virginia, you're still a bit out of the way to go there. But you could still you're still much out of the way to get there. But if you did live in Bethesda or Rockville, and they let you on their team, would you take it?
Wow. It really depends on what they would want me for.
To be you, to play the game.
I guess you could say I wouldn't be opposed to it. No.
I mean, this game has gotten really expensive. You would agree with me on that, with the, whether it's ice or even with the cost of ice. I mean, it goes up, and you have to kind of paint the blue lines and the red line, and there's cost going into that too. Now, let's say we start. Now, I've been asking this about synthetic hockey, synthetic ice hockey rinks for a while now, and thinking that we need to actually start whatever floor hockey facilities there are, we need to start putting the synthetic tiles down, and putting up some glass there, or wherever the roller rinks are, and then just start putting some synthetic tiles down there, and actually have a game there. Now I think that would be a great. Now would you agree with me that, and I guess you would pay $100 for 15 games. It would be very cheap to do it. So I guess, and it would be, I mean, putting the if you have 20 plus players on a team, and it's $2,000 to actually just put the tiles in, or less than $2,000 out of all of it, you could actually get everyone there to pay about $200 and still save some money over, and actually have some profit. But would you agree with me that we need to start seeing leagues with synthetic ice?
Wow. These are all questions that are beyond me. First off, I never heard of such a thing, synthetic ice, and playing on it. So, I have no opinion. I haven't had any knowledge of stuff like this. And I know I'm probably sounding very silly right now and stupid not knowing, but this is something that is out of my knowledge. So, I really have no opinion. I really don't know what to say about this at all.
Okay. Let me. then let me back up here because I want to make sure that you got this. Synthetic ice is um there's there's a company called Polyglide, and what it does is that when a skater, whether that's a figure skater, hockey player, whatever type of skater, speed skater, let's even say, uh, skates on it, there's a lubricant built within it, and then it just comes to the surface. So you also don't have to put like a Zamboni or like wipe it down or even clean it off because the lubricant keeps it fresh and it sort of cleans it off as well. And for tiles that are like, about I guess for 3 square feet, I mean, I guess like maybe a few bucks per square feet. Um, yeah, I guess it would be. I guess it's worth it out of all of it too, and
Hmm.
then all the players would have to do was just spend some money on the equipment, assuming, or if they already have it, assuming they have it, it'd be nothing. It would be nothing too. Um, and I mean the players would be a little slower, but I think it would be still something great that we should try.
Well, yeah, I mean, if it's gonna save time by not requiring a Zamboni to wipe over stuff, then that sounds like a neat idea.
And this can be used many times over. It's like thousands of times over for the cost of maybe $2,000 to build to have the surface of a rink, and you just put it on where a roller rink is, and then I guess you're okay uh,
Sure.
with that. Okay. Moving on, this is one topic that I did want to talk about. Um, uh, Pond hockey. Uh, so outdoors as well is also a great thing. Now, I never got to play in the Winter Classic uh, in that mini game up in Pittsburgh, right? You were there in Pittsburgh?
Yes, and it was super fun.
Okay, all right. I want you to tell me about that.
Well, I will say, I mean, I'm not a fan of Pittsburgh's teams, of course, but Pittsburgh is a city, beautiful city filled with wonderful people, the friendliest people you will meet. Good food there too. And it was really, really such a wonderful experience to play in that mini game for sure. And excuse me, just to have people from meet people from teams in our league all over the coast, East Coast, come together and play together on the teams for sure. I mean, it was fantastic. It really was just being able to hang out with each other, whether it's on or off the ice.
Now, did they play with goalies or did they do it
Yes,
traditionally with? Okay, so they did not have that wooden box at all. And I think that was, I think like in a true traditional sense, you always have that box go 4-on-4. That's the traditional sense. But, but, um, I wrote this for the paid members in the, in the, on my Substack, and that there is something about just playing outdoors that just keeps you fresh. It's the fresh air. It's kind of like
I agree.
and it's just and before 1875, before McGill University truly brought it indoors, before that happened, there was no concession stand. There was no guy behind the counter and you had to pay him $10 to skate. There was nothing like that. And you just grabbed your skates, grabbed your stick, grabbed your beanie or whatever, your sweatshirt, whatever you were doing to keep you warm, your gloves, and you skated with a puck outdoors and you played with friends. And it wasn't really, and and I mean that skating would not pass in special hockey now, but what it did was it connected friends to nature, and it created lasting friendships just like ours.
Oh, absolutely, for sure.
Whew, that that'll cover pond hockey. Your favorite team is the New York Islanders. So why is that?
Actually, it's the Washington Capitals.
Okay, all right. Okay, thank you for correcting me. Then, so I was going to say, well, why do you like the New York Islanders?
Well, because my dad is from Long Island, and it's the team that my grandfather got him into, and it's just been kind of passed on. Like first with my grandpa, then my dad, and now me. It's really the team who everyone on my dad's side of the family root for.
There is it definitely. I've got to say that um, when it comes to NHL teams, the Islanders were the last to win it 4 times in a row, and after the that era from 80 to 83, was that era just exposed a lot of people. It was just the times as well. Now, we're not going to go back to the stand up era, but I definitely think, the legacy that the Islanders built was very necessary for the NHL. Um, Even before Gretzky won his first Stanley Cup, it was necessary for Hall, Hall of Famers like Trottier, Billy Smith, and of course Mike Bossy to um to build it, and then just to build their reputations there, and just build a dynasty too in New York City, where it's not where you typically don't think of the NHL as being great. But um but have you ever been but a little more on your New York Islanders experience. Uh have you ever been to Nassau Coliseum?
Yes.
What about UBS Arena? Have you been there as well?
Nope.
Nassau Coliseum has been was there for the first 40 plus years of the Islanders, and then they played for in Barclays Arena as well. Your thoughts on Barclays Arena now? Do you think it was a mistake to ever leave the island to go to Brooklyn?
Excuse me. I would say no. So maybe to get, some more traction, just to get some more foot traffic. And uh, Brooklyn is the most populous borough of New York City. So maybe like I said, to get some foot traffic into there, and, you know, create some livelier games, if you may. Um, on a surface area, that's how I would answer it for sure.
Now, whatever it was, the Islanders just seemed to play better at Nassau than they ever did at Barclays Center, and they struggled.
Interesting.
They struggled. I think, and I don't know if it was just John Tavares leaving or whatever it was, you know, leaving, but it just didn't work the same way of actually being on the island.
Hmm.
And I think now you see this at UBS Arena, where they're certainly coming in now, and 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 I think the Islanders historically just needed their own place. They didn't need having a basketball team play in the same arena just never worked out for them when the Nets came back to Brooklyn. It just was not sense because historically those teams were not in the same state. For most of the time, they were not in the same state. If you were familiar with basketball, the Nets were growing up. I remember them as the New Jersey Nets, not the Brooklyn Nets or the New York Nets. They were the New Jersey Nets, and the New York Islanders played on Long Island. It's in their name.
Mm.
Just saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. Um, I guess I guess how would you grow the hockey community? Because we've got expensive costs, we've got whether that's with the equipment, registration fees, or ice time, or even just getting on a team. I mean, so what would you do to get the costs down and to help newcomers discover this game?
Well, I think a way to, like you said earlier, to excuse me, get the cost down is synthetic ice, and also, you know, perhaps there's a way to set up drives or shops for to use. I mean, for people to um, get spare or used gear at a reduced price, so that way they don't have to go and pay for for gear or equipment that's brand new, because that's expensive, let me tell you, as you might already know. So I think that's one way to do it. And also just to increase the community, I think really um, just finding a bunch of people and then you create an identity together that everyone will sort of identify with and just sort of embrace and carry about with each other as they play on and off the ice. And I know this sounds a little maybe too, I don't know if maybe like too idyllic is the right word, but that is what kind of comes to mind. But at the same time, I mean, I'm hopeful that maybe people can, create that to um, for all the better to again decrease the cost and also really create a sense of community, like you said earlier.
Of course. Guess what else is there? Anything you want to promote or anything else you want to discuss before I end this conference?
Nothing really. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. All right. Now before I end this conference, end this episode, please go over to rothsteina.substack.com. Also, this podcast is available in video on Spotify. So definitely go over there. And also head over to my YouTube channel and please do like and subscribe. If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead, like and subscribe now. And also when you sign up for rothsteina.substack.com, whether it's free or paid, you will get access to a Google Doc. From there, you can download it as a PDF to help you study the hand signals of the referees. All right, thank you once again. And with that being said, stay safe, stay great, and I'll talk to you all in the next episode.